Well, welcome to the Celebs.com studio, sponsored by Movie Maker Magazine. Eric Mabius, Michael Walker, Parker Posey. Firstly, congratulations on being up here. I know you guys are obviously veterans of Sundance.
Thank you.
Eric, you had a film back. You've had like 7 films or something here, right?
I've had a few.
Yeah, and you guys both basically had 95, 96. It was a while back. So I know the obvious question is, not so much how has Sundance changed, but how do you think indie film has changed in that time?
Well, I feel like that era, people were really starting to awaken to the necessity, the need of indie film. It was the first time in sort of the mid-90s. I remember Dollhouse really did well, and they did that sort of like ripple release, and it kept doing word-of-mouth spread. And I felt like after that, that was sort of when Miramax was really jumping in, and they started seeing what everyone had been doing for a long time, struggling to get their film scene become a viable option, and then it sort of like exploded several years after that, where it became more of about a machine and churning product out, and sort of coming in and preying upon not defenseless filmmakers, but paying low and selling high, kind of by
Yeah. Do you have it?
Well, it's also like the culture changed so much. It's not just movies, but it's music, it's art, it's the internet. There's so much that I feel like I have a hair on my face. Do you have a piece of hair on my face?
No.
No. There's so much that has changed since then, and so the indie film scene when it started to really blossom and be cool, it seemed like everyone was interested in what these independent movies were. And then the festivals started happening. And now people go see movies at festivals before they go to the theater to support an indie director, And then you have the rise of celebrity with that. So there's so much that's changed in our culture, and we've yet to find what how the internet and different distribution models are gonna, have that blossoming again of stories that are, hopefully gonna be more creative and human and intimate. I like watching some things online because I feel there's an intimacy there that I don't find in movies now that want to shock us or have big sound design, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to stay positive because I have seen, it kind of, blossom, and then, like our system, capitalism, that came in, and it just kind of, it became something else entirely.
Yeah.
So movies are financed, by financiers, and the movie that we worked on was very, very low budget. So it's, for me, 15, 16 years later, it's like starting all over for me. So that's good. And I'm hosting this year at the festival, so I'm really grateful of this little time for me personally to be here.
Michael, I know obviously you've had some trouble getting some films off the ground recently. I remember when you started the blog for Maid's Room, and then it just went away. But with Price Check, I mean, the obvious question as well is, it's been a little while since Chasing Sleep. Has it just been a case of this kind of game of financing, or is it?
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Well, Maid's Room, which I hope to do next again, what I've been trying to get made for a long time, is it's always sort of the same thing. You need a star to get financing, and you need financing to get a star because you need a start date, and it just gets very tricky. So, actually one of the things I think that if you're going to talk about like what's changed in indie film and what she was saying about celebrity, in 1995, like Welcome to the Dollhouse, it wasn't a high budget movie. I doubt that cost very much at all. But
in fact, the only way that film got made, and I haven't heard of anyone else doing this, Todd would raise the money, we would shoot, and we'd run out of money and stop. So it actually took, I think it took a year to just get the thing in the can. Yeah. And we'd get everyone back together and shoot a couple more weeks, and then everyone would go their opposite, separate ways and come back together.
Wow.
Right, but there weren't any big stars. I mean, you weren't a star then yet.
No,
so,
absolutely
there
not.
was But that got distribution too. There was, they sort of created that path of distribution back then in the 90s, and that because of the celebrity, that sort of fed itself because they needed the stars to make those films.
But
to
even
be able
though
to sell those films to keep those distribution networks going, and then the film started costing too much, and they couldn't really sustain that. So,
which is not a business model I understand, because if a film is successful, regardless of whether there's a name there or not, why do they keep just aiming for celebrities to? I don't. No one has effectively explained that answer.
Also, now they're making more films than ever. It's just that they're harder to see because, like these $100,000 films or $200,000 films, there seems to be a lot of them that I've never heard of.
And there's no distribution.
There's no distribution for them.
So. Your company, and AKA Stinky Monkey Films. Looking at you, it doesn't scream Stinky Monkey.
No, Stinky Monkey. Well, that's gone now. I got spammed out of Stinky Monkey.
You got spammed out of it.
Yeah, but no, Stinky Monkey was a logo. It was, because I always thought when you made a film, it was a little bit like when you take a shit. It's like you're proud of it, but you're also a little embarrassed of it.
So is that how you feel ahead of tomorrow's premiere?
That was a while ago. I had that.
So the new name, something equally colourful?
No, Pango is just something my kid called me.
Yeah. But how do you feel being back and having the movie here tomorrow? Do you get
I do
nervous,
feel like, I
or?
get very nervous showing a film. It's my least favorite part of making movies.
Yeah. Do you watch the audience or do you watch the movie?
I sit there and I suffer for an hour and a half or whatever it is, and then when it's over, then it's a big weight off my mind.
Okay, so obviously...
All you do is you just see the film, you just see all the faults in it, and you hope that nobody else notices.
So Susan puts a super in supermarket.
That's good.
I thought that was probably
really
the 30th person today to say that.
Yeah, you're the first.
Okay, cool.
I appreciate it.
What did you like about Susan? What was it?
She's just so energized, and she has such a strong will, and she makes things happen wherever she goes. And you meet high-powered women and talk to them. It is a man's world, right? And so being a powerful woman in the workforce, like, what does that look like?
Yeah, in the script it was, if she wasn't a woman, no one would call her a bitch.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
that kind of summed her up a little.
Yeah. And what happens to a woman when that happens to her? Who does she become? How does she live? And she's very high-powered in her job, and she's really successful, and she'd be good at anything that she wanted to do. I remember talking to Mike when we were working. It was like, Susan could do anything. It doesn't have to be the grocery store business. She's going to transform this company. She's going to everyone to change, whether, and she's going to scream. She's going to enforce her will and her desire on everyone. But then her personal life and her relationship department is just chaos. She's kind of a chaotic force. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah, definitely. Well, not in, she knows how to run her company, but she doesn't know how to run her life.
Yeah. But she wants what she wants, and she's going to get it, And there's no consequences, there's no conscience of, how would this affect his life if I did that? How would this affect it? She doesn't really care, She doesn't go that deep. And that's, I never played anyone like that, so that was really fun. She's not deep, and, anyway, I'm rambling.
Deeply complicated.
Eric, music in your background, obviously people know you as an actor, but music as well?
Music and A&R because of the character?
No, yeah, so is music a part of your personal background?
I am a music fiend, I'd say. I think I secretly wish I was in that business somehow, in some way. I'm not sure how, but I went to arts, college. I went to Sarah Lawrence, and a lot of my roommates and friends ended up in A&R when Profile was really reinventing itself, and some of the hip-hop labels and indie labels, friends from DC, people. So I had a really sort of wide range and exposure to types of music and a side of that business that I never would have otherwise. And I found it kind of exciting in a different way, because they've, looking, I would just appreciate music, but having the perspective from the other side, I found it energizing somehow. Kind of, I romanticized it. So yeah, it's always sort of, and living in the East Village and doing that whole thing back in the late 80s when East Village was still a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for coming in and spending a few minutes with us. Enjoy the premiere tomorrow, and
Thank
good
you.
luck.